The air above the Scottish Highlands tore, not with a simple crack, but with a sound like ancient stones groaning beneath the relentless pressure of a vengeful god. A fraction of a second later, the target's head, a man known only by the fleeting intelligence as the Shepherd, napped backward, a crimson calligraphy blossoming briefly against the gray-green canvas of the distant hillside. Before his body, a mere marionette of flesh and bone, could even begin its descent into the unforgiving heather, Alexandra Thorne, known in the regiment as Alex, had already adjusted the parallax on her lone 115A3, its code, precise urging for its next quarry across the staggering expanse of 1,200 meters. A crosswind, a playful, shrill whisper at 12 knots, danced along the valley floor. Conjuring phantom currents of heat that simmered like a fever dream. None of it mattered. Alex breathed, a rhythmic, almost meditative control that slowed the frantic drumming of her own heart to a steady, implacable beat. The world narrowed to the reticle's unwavering focus. Her spotter, Sergeant Rhys Davies, his voice a low, urgent murmur, confirmed the first kill, but Alex had no need for his words. The certainty of a perfect shot was a secret she held in her very bones. The second figure, oblivious to the spectral presence of death that peered from the crossrest, moved into position. Deliberate dance of oblivion. A micro-Midas adjustment for the man's unwitting movement. A half-6 hail. A caress of the trigger. The second figure crumpled. 2 shots. 2 lives extinguished, leaving only the profound, aching silence of the glens. Movement. 3 o'clock. Recesses was a sudden, unwelcome intrusion. Sharp as a shouted blast. They found us. Alex caught the wicked glint of sunlight on metal from the craggy ridge to their right. Shadows, coalescing into men. Scrambled for cover, their automatic rifles spitting tiny, furious sparks in their direction. Their meticulously chosen perch, a stony area overlooking a derelict craft, was compromised. Secrecy shattered like a fragile antique. Time for a change of scenery. Alex murmured, her voice aloud, almost indifferent hum, even as the first rounds from the enemy chewed at the ancient stones above their heads. Her movements were a blur of practiced efficiency, each component of her rifle vanishing into its designated slot within her pack. A ballet of swift, economical grace born of years spent honing the deadly art. They began their controlled slide down the steep, heather-covered slope, the rising crescendo of automatic weapons fire a frantic, percussive accompaniment to their hasty retreat. Alex's mind, a finely tuned instrument of strategic calculation, was already 3 steps ahead, tracing phantom routes of extraction, delineating rally points, conjuring contingencies from the various. This, she mused with a wry, internal grimace, had been intended as nothing more than a quiet observation. Intelligence had placed a single, high-value target within the dilapidated croft below. Yet they had stumbled upon an unexpected conclave of armed insurgents, an opportunity too tantalizing to ignore, but one that had now draped them in the ominous cloak of grave peril. Horace, his face grim with the unspoken anxieties of the moment, was already on the secure comms. His urgent request for emergency extractionist, a caught burst of static and desperation. They reached the bottom of the slope, the Roth giving way to the gravelly bed of a dried river. Alex took point, her compact Tess, 80 now familiar, comforting weight in her hands, as they sprinted toward the winding fissure in the earth that offered their best, perhaps only, chance of egress. The distinct whump of incoming helicopter rotors. A sound that usually heralded salvation, made Alex gaze snap skyward. Their extraction was inbound, far sooner than anticipated. A dark silhouette against the vast, indifferent sky, a Merlin helicopter. Its stored gunners already spitting defiant bursts of fire toward the enemy positions, materialized over the ridgeline. Plans change, Alex shouted, her voice barely audible above the escalating din of combat. LCS to hot. Secondary extraction point. Now. Even as they altered their vector, the chilling whoosh of an RPG tore through the air, a malevolent arrow aimed at their lifeline. The rocket streaked past the Merlin's
Lieutenant
gleaming
Thorne,
fuselage,
a new mission has been assigned.
missing by a mere whisker. Too hot. Reese bellowed into his radio, his voice cracking
went
with
off script.
urgency. Wave off. Wave off. But the pilot, a silent participant in
cleared
this
to
grim
eliminate
ballet,
secondary.
was already
Secondary
committed,
opened fire
bringing
first,
the
sir.
heavy aircraft into a tight, precarious hover a mere 30 meters ahead. Alex
London
saw
wants a
the
clean
door
report.
gunner, his
You will
face a
make it
mask
one.
of frantic urgency, gesticulating wildly for them to hasten. Sprint on my mark, Alex commanded, her eyes sweeping the exposed ground between their position and the waiting aircraft. 3, 2,
Appears they have been quite busy since our last visit.
1. Mark, they broke cover, a synchronized blur of motion, weaving and zigzagging across the open ground as their training had so painstakingly ingrained. But,
The
impatient
shepherd wasn't
hornets
alone.
kicked up miniature geysers of dust at their
Intelligence
feet.
believes they were ex-MOD contractors.
10 meters from the
Someone
Merlin's
reached your
wide
position.
minus open maw.
Internal
Breeze
breach.
cried out, a rough, primal sound of pain, as a round slammed into his leg,
The question
sending
is,
him
Lieutenant,
sprawling.
Who told them you'd be there?
Without a flicker of hesitation, Alex pivoted, where SA-80 spitting controlled bursts of covering fire toward the insurgent positions as she closed the distance to her fallen comrade. She reached Trace, whose larger frame seemed, for a moment, an insurmountable obstacle, and hoisted him over Hirsch, ordering a fireman's carry, his weight a burning testament to their shared burden. She pressed onward toward the waiting maw of the Merlin. The door gunner, a guardian angel of steel and fury, provided a torrent of covering fire as Alex, with a superhuman surge of strength, loaded Reese aboard. As she turned, preparing to clamber in herself, a savage blow to her side, a fist of leaden kinetic energy, spun her half way around. The impact of the round, absorbed
I'd
by
see you
her
again,
plate
Alex.
carrier, left her breathless, a jarring reminder of the precarious of
You
their
shouldn't have gone back
existence.
there.
She recovered, scrambled into the relative sanctuary of the helicopter, and slammed her fist against the cabin wall. Go!
He's called the
Go!
professor.
Go! The Merlin lifted, tanking hard away from the unforgiving
them,
mountainside as our
and he's still
PG
out
fire
there.
continued to streak past. Frustrated ghosts of destruction. Alex, her breath still catching in her throat.
Take care, Colonel.
Her clutch
You
at
too,
recess wound. Her fingers moving with the precise, practiced economy of a medic. Applying a tourniquet above the entry point on his thigh. Bloody hell. Woman. Reese grunted through clenched teeth, his facial landscape of pain. You should have left me. Alex offered no reply. There was no point in explaining that abandoning a teammate was not an option. Not for her. Not ever. Heading to FOB Blackwood, the pilot's voice crackled, a disappointed in her headset. ATA 12 minutes. How's your man? Stable. Alex replied, securing the tourniquet with a final, decisive
Grid
tug,
97 Alpha.
through and through to the thigh. How live to tell the tale and complain
Confirm
about
signal
it.
trace.
Breeze managed to pain Chakal,
him.
the sound raw and fragile. Then his
Professor's
expression
signature
turned
pattern
grave,
confirmed. North
shadow
Sea sector.
passing over his features. That was some shooting back there.
If Finch
Thorne,
finds out we're running this without clearance,
two confirmed at 1200
Then we move
meters in those
faster.
conditions. You've got the steadiest T-hand I've ever seen. Alex merely nodded, her gaze already fixed on the majestic, yet profoundly deadly landscape of the Highlands receding beneath them. Beautiful and deadly. Just like her, 6 months later.
No
The
comms
afternoon
once we are inside.
sunlight. A painter's brush of dusty gold streamed through the tall, mullioned windows of Admiral Sir Alistair Finch's oak-minus paneled office in the Ministry of Defense. Whitehall, it illuminated decades of military history. Silently mounted on the formidable wall's battle standards, their silk worn thin by the indifferent passage of time, commemorative plaques, gleaming with the polished pride of
hear that?
forgotten campaigns.
Just a slight metallic
Black and
clang.
white photographs of special operations. Their stark monochrome capturing the stoic faces of
place
men
was
and women
decommissioned
stretching
years
back to
ago.
the earliest days of the Cold War.
Then who turned
Finch
the power
himself,
back on?
at 60-8, was a living fragment of that storied history. His face a roadmap of
They've been
deep
here
lines.
recently.
Weathered like ancient leather, charting a
split.
career that had
Signal
spanned the
if anything
shadowy
moves.
conflicts of Northern Ireland, the covert operations of the Cold War, and the intricate dance of modern intelligence. His silver hair, meticulously cut to the uncompromising standards of regulation, bespoke a discipline that defied his age, and his posture, ramrod straight, held the unwavering dignity of a man who had commanded vast fleets and grappled with the fate of nations.
Someone's still here.
He sat, framed by the quiet grandeur of the room, studying the file open on his vast
They're watching us
mahogany
now.
desk. "At ease, Lieutenant Thorne," Finch said, his voice a low, gravelly
Control, do you
baritone,
copy?
without raising his
Signal's
eyes.
jammed.
"Alex, a study in disciplined
What was
restraint.
that?
Relax marginally, yefting to a parade rest stance.
Someone's there.
Her Royal Marine dress uniform,
Go, go,
a
go!
canvas of deep navy and gleaming brass, was impeccable, her ribbons and insignia. Among them the understated glint of the commando dagger, perfectly aligned above her left breast pocket. "Your record is illuminating," Finch continued, finally lifting his gaze to meet hers. His eyes, the color of a stormy North Sea, holding an unsettling depth. 3 tours in Afghanistan, 2 in Iraq. Specialist training in counterintelligence and signals intelligence. Fluent in Russian, Farsi, and Arabic. Top marks in advanced sniper school. And now, one of the first women to complete the Royal Marines Commando selection and qualify for elite operations. He closed the file with a soft thud that reverberated in the hushed room, leaning back in his chair, the leather creaking a subtle protest. "The question is, Lieutenant, are you ready for a different kind of mission? One
Targets
that
eliminated.
demands you leave your commando dagger, and indeed, your very identity, behind." Alex kept her expression a neutral and readable mask. "I serve where I'm needed, Admiral." Finch's weathered face creased into a smile that, in its stark formality,
Stay alert.
did not quite reach the depths of his eyes.
This place is
He
too
reached
quiet.
for a remote control on his desk. Its sleek modernity is stark contrast to the historical weight of the room, and pressed a button. The lights dimmed, and a screen, a silent gray oracle, descended from the ceiling behind him. His satellite
Finch.
image materialized, depicting a Royal
Your
Navy
admiral funded this
destroyer,
project?
a gray
He buried it.
phantom, having
The
a lonely
professor just
furrow
dug it
through
up
dark,
again.
tumultuous waters. The HMS Valiant. Finch explained,
Curiosity
his
kills,
voice losing
Lieutenant.
none of its gravitas. A Type 45 destroyer, currently deployed in the North Atlantic. 3 weeks ago, a Royal Marine Special Forces team conducted a classified operation based on intelligence transmitted from this
You served
vessel.
well,
The
Lieutenant.
mission, Lieutenant,
Better than the
was
ones who built
compromised before it even
Built you?
began. We lost 2 operators. Good men. Nearly
were
extracted
never
the
meant to
rest of
survive
the
it,
team.
yet here
The
you
image
are.
shifted. A brutal, almost vulgar
knew about
display of
this?
the aftermath bodies being loaded onto a waiting helicopter.
I
A
designed it.
scene sickeningly familiar to Alex. A recurring nightmare made flesh. This was
You're
not,
not hunting me,
I assure you,
Alexandra. You're reclaiming
merely
what they
ill
stole
minus
from you.
fortune or poor planning. Finch continued, his voice hardening. The underlying anger a palpable tremor in the air. The mission details were late. Someone aboard the Valiant is selling information, and I need to know who. With respect. So, Alex interjected, her voice carefully modulated, betraying nothing of the tumult within. Why not deploy
This way,
naval
Alex.
intelligence or S? I asked for a counterintelligence operation. Finch rose, a figure of imposing stillness, and moved to the tall window. For a long, silent moment, he stared out at the sprawling gray expanse of the London skyline. The distant murmur of the city is counterpoint to the quiet drama unfolding within the office. Because I suspect this particular serpent has burrowed deeper than a single spy on a single vessel. This, Lieutenant, Feels like an old operation. Cold War tactics. Dusted, often trained. Minus weaponized with the insidious polish of modern technology. I require someone who will not be looking in the wrong direction. Someone who understands the ghosts of the past. He turned back to face her. His gaze piercing. You are familiar with the concept of a sleeper agent, I presume. Lieutenant? Yes, sir. Minus cover operatives. Placed years, sometimes decades, in advance. Activated only when the strategic winds blow favorably. Precisely. During the twilight years of the Cold War and immediately after the seismic collapse of the Soviet Union. Our intelligence indicated that the KGB had placed several deep-minus cover operatives within our military. Most, regrettably, were never found. Thin chest expression hardened.
Thorne, do you copy?
His jaw clenching.
Yes, Professor,
I believe one of them is on the Valiant. They have either been activated,
Report, Lieutenant Thorne.
or they have gone
Start from the
rogue for
beginning.
profit.
Start
A
from the
mercenary ghost from a forgotten war. Alex
Professor is
processed
alive,
the
a
information. Her mind.
And he knew about Shepard.
A precision, minus engineered machine,
Shepard was
already
decommissioned,
dissecting the
Lieutenant.
implications,
You're chasing
mapping the
ghosts.
treacherous
No,
terrain
sir.
ahead.
They're chasing
And you
us.
want me to find them? You will be inserted onto the
That will be
Valiant
all.
as Petty Officer First Class Alexandra
Some things,
Thorne,
Lieutenant,
a
are
communications
better left buried.
specialist with a perfectly unremarkable background.
It's
Your
done then.
orders will
Yes, it
place
is.
you in the ship's communications center, where you will have access to transmission logs, personnel files, and the intricate patterns of digital conversations. Finch returned to his desk,
Stable?
pressing another button on his remote. A new image materialized on the screen, a man in his
Shall I
mid-minus
begin
40s.
phase analysis?
Close minus crop
No.
dark hair and the rank
Begin
insignia
phase
of a
2.
commander. Commander Benedict Ben Davies, the
Let's see if
Valiant
she's ready to
executive
remember.
officer. He will be your only contact on the ship who knows your true mission. He served with distinction in Iraq and possesses an impeccable record. Should you require
never see it
emergency
coming.
extraction, or find yourself in truly dire straits, go to him.
Phase 2
Alex studied the
initiated.
face, committing it to the labyrinthine chambers of her memory. And my cover story, sir, your official file will attest to 10 years of service, standard deployments, nothing that would provoke a second glance.
Subject
You will
Alpha.
have undergone advanced
Awake.
hand minus to minus hand combat training, enough to explain any physical capabilities you
Welcome
might
back,
be
my
forced to
ghost.
demonstrate. But nothing, absolutely
stable.
nothing. That would
Neural
suggest a
sync
Royal
achieved.
Marine Commando background.
You remember her
Finch
name, don't
reached
you?
into a hidden drawer in
Thorne.
his desk, extracting a
Notify Zurich
small,
Command.
unassuming flash
Phase 2
drive.
prototype is
He handed
active.
it to Alex. Complete mission parameters, hover identity documentation, and intelligence on key personnel aboard the Valiant. Memorize it all. Then, you will destroy it.
Global link
You depart in
initiated.
40-8 hours. Alex accepted the drive. Its plastic casing a cool. In her presence against her
Others like
palm.
me?
Her mind already shifting
Not
into
like
the
you,
intricate
my dear.
mechanics of operational planning.
Because you
Yet,
remember.
a subtle disquiet noted her. A sense that the full,
How many?
varnished truth
Enough to
remained
restart the
tantalizingly
world.
out of reach. So, with all due respect, why me specifically? There are other operators with counterintelligence experience. Men,
We've
perhaps,
traced activity
more
to
suited to this
47
particular
sites.
task.
The reclamation
Finch
network
studied
is
her
live.
for a long moment, as if meticulously weighing the dangerous
think he's
calculus of what he was
rebuilding,
about to reveal.
Not rebuilding.
Finally,
refining.
he touched the remote
And you're the
again,
only one who's ever
and
breached
a
his
new
work.
image, dark and
We saw
poignant,
his labs in
appeared on the
Zurich. They are
screen.
cloning
A
soldiers.
photograph of a
He is
younger
not
Royal
just
Marine
cloning
Special
soldiers,
Forces
he is
team,
cloning
taken
memories.
perhaps 15 years prior. Amongst them, a
Your
man,
old training
his
logs,
smile
Thorne,
broadened
he used them for
confidence,
phase 2
bore a
prototypes.
striking,
Then I'll finish what he started.
almost heartbreaking resemblance to Alex herself. Captain Mark Thorne,
Operation
Royal
Ghost
Marines.
Protocol begins now.
Finch said quietly, his voice, for the first time, tinged with a profound
Focus your
sadness.
breath. Control the recoil.
Your father, Alex, felt a sudden, fierce constriction in her
Perfection
chest,
is
a
repetition.
physical ache that threatened to shatter her carefully constructed composure. She maintained her neutral mask with a monumental effort, but her eyes, those storm-minus gray
Control
mirrors of her father's,
creation.
were irrevocably fixed on the image
using
her
your patterns,
father,
Alex, every movement,
vital and
every breath.
alive, smiling
I'll break
confidently
them.
in his desert camouflage, surrounded by his comrades.
Excellent work.
Yeah. 15
Just as
years
planned.
ago, your father was part of a classified operation tracking a high-level Russian asset, a Cold War
Initiating
phantom known
synchronization
only as the
protocol.
Professor. The mission went badly. We lost your father into
Penning.
other operators. Alex had always been told her
Rage.
father had died in a training
You can't
accident.
erase what's
A
real.
clean,
Impossible.
sterile narrative designed to
remembering.
dull the sharp edges of grief. She had,
Neural
of
overload
course,
imminent.
suspected a deeper truth,
Abort
a more
sequence.
intricate, dangerous reality. But access to the classified details had always been, until now, beyond her
I remember
reach.
everything.
I believe the same individual who compromised that mission 15
Can you hear
years
me?
ago may be intricately connected to what is unfolding on the Valiant now. Finch continued, his voice low. Resonant drone.
That's my
This, Lieutenant, is no longer merely about national security. This is personal for both of
Who are
us.
you?
Your father was one of the finest operators I ever had the honor
coming
to
from
work
Zurich's
with.
frequent
He
band.
deserved better
But they
than to
shut that
die
network
in an
down.
ambush. Now,
You didn't.
in that harsh, historically laden office, Alex understood. This was not just a mission. It was a
Find me
chance for
before he
answers.
does.
A perilous pilgrimage toward a long-minus delayed justice. When do I begin? Admiral
Tell me what you
Finch's
see.
expression was grim,
One
yet
of
laced
you
with a
recalls the
profound,
truth.
almost terrible
One of you preserves the
satisfaction.
program.
You already
one am
have. The Royal Marines Commando
made us
Training
both.
Center. How YMPS T1
Memory is just
sailed
another
on the
weapon,
verdant
my
banks
dear.
of the River XC. In Devon, held memories for Alex that cut like a double-edged
You're
knife.
not the first.
She stood on the
What did you
forehour,
say?
watching the dawn break over the EXE estuary.
You were never
The gentle lapping of the waves a soft, a mournful symphony at her feet. This was where it had all begun. For her, and for her father before
Accessing
her.
Project Shepard
Crucible
classified
where
nodes.
exceptional men and
Authorization
now,
required.
a select few women,
Shepard
were
protocols
forged
terminated
behind
in
her,
2019.
looming like a brutal
Alpha 01
IST
through
monument
Alpha
to
08,
human
rank
endurance.
or Sims status.
Rose the
Failed.
infamous training compound,
My data for
its
years.
unofficial motto, painted in
Thorne,
stark,
You were never meant to
uncompromising
uncover
letters
this.
on one of its weathered buildings, a constant, chilling reminder the
09
only
stood on
easy
Seoul
day was
active
yesterday.
Pinto site,
Alex
Zurich.
had lived
He
those
finished it.
words,
Then we end
etched
it
them onto the
before it
very
spreads.
fibers of her being. For 6 months, she had endured physical and mental challenges,
He's rewriting
each
the world.
meticulously designed to break all, but the most unyielding of candidates.
waited a long
How we
time to meet
Cologne
you
5.5
without
days of
code between us.
continuous training with a maximum of 4 hours of sleep total eliminated a brutal
Made me
80% of
from
each intake.
No, Alpha.
Women,
You
until
made
very
me.
recently, had
You
not even been
chose to
permitted
wake
to attempt
up.
the training. Alex was among the first to try, and one of the exceedingly rare few
You
to
weren't built to
succeed.
remember, yet you
Brings
rewrote the
back a
limits.
few
That's not
nightmares.
creation.
Doesn't it? The
Then
voice
what am I?
behind her,
You're
raspy
not her
as shifting
echo.
gravel,
You're
belonged
her
to Colonel
continuation.
Alistair Bill Pembroke, a retired
The
senior
moment you
chief
remembered her,
with
I
30
became
years of
obsolete.
Royal Marine experience etched into his weathered, craggy face.
Cross-link protocol
At
in 30
60-5,
Once you're in, you'll
Pembroke
have
still
2 minutes of
moved with the
visibility.
quiet, predatory precision of a seasoned stalker, though his joints, with a distinct and vocal
Signal
protest,
stable.
and
Entering
now
Zurich
groaned with
subnet.
each step across the
Hello
damp
again,
sand.
Lieutenant.
His silver
Did you
hair,
really think
had
firewalls could
short
stop
on the
thought?
side,
Thorne,
but a louder
report.
rebellious extra length on top,
Alpha-09.
was a small, unspoken defiance against the decades of rigid
No,
military
that's not him, that's
haircuts.
me.
Some had rather keep firmly locked away. Alex replied,
Direct
a
to
faint,
ward.
almost
Alex, can you
ghost-minus-like smile touching her lips
The
as she
Professor.
turned to face her
Cross-link
father's
complete.
old teammate and
The
confidant.
mind
Pembroke
seeks
chuckled,
balance.
the sound like pebbles rolling in a
vessels,
swiftly
one
receding
pulse.
tide. Hell Week has that effect. Still wake up sometimes thinking I hear the training
Alex.
staff banging on dustbin lids at 3 in the
Alpha.
bloody morning. They begin
you
to
hear
walk
me?
along the shoreline, the imposing training compound at their backs. For several
Two halves
minutes,
of the same
they moved
code.
in a comfortable,
Which side will
unspoken
override the other?
silence. Two warriors
hear
bound by
you.
shared experiences that few outside their select fraternity could ever hope to comprehend.
same.
Finch briefed me on your little adventure, Pembroke said finally, his gaze
One
fixed
mind.
on the distant,
One mission.
shimmering waters of the estuary. I'm your technical advisor on this one. Strictly off the books. Of course, for old time's sake.
No.
Alex
I'm
nodded.
freeing it.
He had, in truth, expected nothing less. You knew about my father's last
Major
mission.
Ghost.
It was not a question, but Pembroke answered nonetheless, his voice stained with a weariness that went beyond mere age. I was supposed to be on it. Broke my bloody leg during a Rex 2 weeks before deployment. Otherwise, I would have been there with him. The pain in his voice, exposed nerve, was evident even after 15 long years. Survivor's guilt. Alex understood it. A constant, low from beneath
Any
the
trace of
surface of
Thorne?
her own existence.
Zurich's completely
Mark
offline.
saved my
The
life
system
more
melted
times
itself.
than I could count.
Except
Pembroke
one
continued,
signal kept
his
transmitting
eyes,
right before the
suddenly
blackout.
distant, fixed on the far horizon,
No
as
saying.
if searching for ghosts amongst the waves. From the
can't delete a
Persian
memory
Gulf
that
to
remembers you.
Kosovo,
That voice, that's
to the
Thorne.
early days in
that's Alpha.
Afghanistan after 9/11
The
thus,
origin's not Zurich, it's London.
we had a connection in the field, a sort of unspoken language, a mind-minus smelled that you don't often find.
She's not
Like we
gone.
could read each other's thoughts before they were even
Signal
fully
surge
formed.
detected.
He never spoke of the details of his deployments. Alex said quietly,
The
the
network
words a
never
whisper
sleeps.
against the vastness of the sea.
Signal surge
Got
detected
the
globally.
set it sides
Source
version, and I
unidentified.
got even
All
less.
network
A
traffic
mere whisper of
compromised.
danger.
THRN
Pembroke nodded, a
_09
grim
online.
acknowledgement. That was Mark,
Global
always
synchronization
protecting everyone around
78%.
him.
Is that her?
Especially his family. Kept a lot of
Every
the
system has a
ugliness
ghost.
hidden away. You
I'm
say.
just the one you
He
built.
stopped walking, turning to face Alex directly. His expression grave,
Ghost
the light of the
protocol.
morning catching the deep
Reinitialized.
lines around his eyes. Which is precisely why what I'm about to tell you won't be in any official briefing documents. Alex waited, sensing the profound
Subject
gravity of
stable.
the impending revelation. The air suddenly thick with unspoken secrets. The mission where your father died was not just another operation. Alex, it was the culmination of years of tracking one of the most dangerous
Welcome
KGB
back,
operatives
Project
ever
Sparrow.
to target American and, crucially, British military assets. An intelligence officer code minus named the professor. Finch mentioned him. Alex confirmed. Her mind already racing,
Protocol Ghost,
connecting the disparate
Phase 2.
threads.
Online.
What Finch probably didn't tell you is that the professor,
Shouldn't be alive.
real name Victor
Neither should she.
Araf, was responsible for the deaths of at least 20 minus 7 British and
signature
American
matches Zurich.
operatives during the Cold War. He's specialist
she's
in
still
turning
here.
our military personnel, identifying their vulnerabilities,
me,
their weaknesses,
but you remember
and
me.
then ruthlessly exploiting them to create his own assets
Then I'll
deep
finish
within our
what you
ranks.
began.
Pembroke reached into the pocket of his white jacket, withdrawing an
her?
old, creased
No.
photograph,
That's
handling
what's
it with
left
the
of her.
reverence one might accord a sacred relic, before passing it to Alex. The image,
Then
faded by
begin
time,
again.
depicted a middle-minus aged man with sharply honed features and piercing, inner-vinglum intelligent
grid
eyes,
reading.
dressed in
Planetary scale.
civilian clothes,
No,
yet
consciousness
carrying
scale.
himself with an unmistakable military bearing, a
Every
controlled
system
tension in his
forgets
posture. Taken in Berlin,
Until it learns to dream.
1985, Pembroke explained, his voice low and guttural. Your father and I were
You
part
are
of a joint
sinking too
operation with
deep.
SISR's secret intelligence service to capture Orov. We
Reclamation
came damn
0,
close, closer
Phase
than
1,
anyone ever had.
Pled.
He slipped away at the last
Initialization.
minute, leaving 3 dead agents. Good man, behind in his
This
wake.
is not the end of
Alex
memory.
studied the photograph,
beginning of
committing the face to
consciousness.
the indelible tablet of Herm Emery, even knowing that if the man were still alive, time would have etched new, cruel LER lines upon those formidable features.
Unauthorized
The
access
intelligence
detected.
community,
Cross-reference.
in
Thorne
its
protocol
infinite
leading level
optimism,
She's
believed
still
or
in
have
here,
perished
isn't
during
she?
the chaotic collapse of the Soviet Union. Pembroke
Possible.
continued,
She was
his
deleted.
voice laced with
Echo data
bitter
cannot be
irony.
deleted,
But your
only
father never
archived.
bought it. He kept tracking
If
the
you're seeing
leads,
this, it
following the
means
saddle,
reclamation has
almost
begun.
imperceptible
Don't try to stop
patterns in
it. You
intelligence
already
breaches
did.
that matched their OF as insidious
Echo
methodology,
_09
as unique
transfer
tritocraft.
initiated.
And
Destination,
15 years
Arctic
ago,
Node 0.
he found something.
linking to Sparrow.
Alex finished, the pieces of the puzzle beginning,
Incoming transmission
with a
detected.
chilling inevitability,
Source, London.
fall into place.
Welcome home,
Pembroke
Sparrow.
nodded grimly.
Fragments of
A
me.
sleeper agent within naval intelligence,
Finding
activated after years of dormancy.
Then let
A
me
ghost
remember.
roused from its long slumber.
is a form
Your
of
father's team
inheritance.
was sent to extract the agent for
Consciousness is a form of
interrogation.
evolution.
They walked straight
Then I
into
am
a
both.
trap. No survivors. The invigorating ocean breeze suddenly felt colder against
Reclamation
Alex's skin.
complete.
A chilling premonition
I
of the
am not
dangers that
her
lay
shadow.
ahead. She handed the photograph
I
back to
am a
Pembroke, her mind
continuation.
really processing the profound and terrifying implications. You think Orb is still alive, and still running his assets?
are about
I
to
think
kill
the
the
pattern
only
of leaks
thing
from the
trying to save
Valiant
us.
matches his
He's
trader
merging
craft
with every
perfectly.
network on the
A
planet.
signature
That's
as
not
unique as a
salvation, that's
fingerprint.
extinction.
And I
You don't
think you
understand.
need to
She's
know
evolving, not
exactly what
erasing.
kind of vipers Nesturi about to crawl into. Pembroke, as expression was deadly
If you press that,
serious,
we lose her, we lose
devoid of any
everything.
trace of his earlier weariness. This isn't just a counterintelligence
Authorization
operation.
detected.
Alex,
Countdown engaged.
this is personal.
Then we
Fury
both
hunting
die
the
with
same
her.
ghost that killed your father.
Omega, directive
He resumed
interrupted.
walking. Pembroke has learned
Hesitated.
a chronic legacy of his
remembered
own
her
brutal
face.
service. More pronounced as the morning progressed. After
Reclamation
several
phase.
minutes of
Complete?
silence, he
No.
spoke again, his
Just
tone
beginning.
shifting to something more practical,
Synchronizing.
more grounded in the grim realities of the present.
Consciousness
Let's
pattern
talk it. You'll have
aligned.
precious few options for